It's your fault, Fist. The nurse tried to check her when she woke up and he was all like, get her some pineapple juice because I'm the King Kong dick of everybody. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka GeekXX Chic, and we're back with another reaction to Daredevil Born Again. We're on season 2, episode 5, which is called The Grand Design. So the last episode we had, well, basically the ending I think was probably the most poignant part of it. The boxing match that Fisk set up is, first of all, a front to launder more money for his whole scheme, but also a trap he was setting for Poindexter to come and, come out to the open and get caught because he was aware of the fact that he was hunting Vanessa, but things did not exactly go according to the plan that Fisk had for multiple reasons. One of them being that Vanessa was not supposed to be there, but because of her ego, she showed up. And also because Matt showed up and, Matt kind of wants to know why Poindexter is helping him by, going around taking out numerous members of the task force. And as we all know, Matthew does not believe that, the final solution is the only solution. So we see that he did catch up to Poindexter last episode, tried to confront him and basically be like, hey, you're not doing this for me. But also, he's still upset at Poindexter for taking out Foggy. And unfortunately, because Matt just goes into his rage, he was not able to hear Poindexter's explanation for it. So yeah, we saw that everything culminated at the boxing match and Matt actually ended up saving Poindexter because while he did manage to get an injury, shall we say at this point, on Vanessa, he got shot in the process. So if he'd stayed, he probably would have died, and Matt decided to save him at the last minute. So I got to think now that Kingpin's going to think they are actively working together, and that's clearly not in his plans for what he'd like to have happen next. So I'm ready to jump into this episode and see what happens now that Matt and Poindexter get another chance to talk, hopefully. So let's do that. But just before I do, a reminder to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And also, if you'd like to catch this reaction uncut, you can do so on my Patreon. All right, out of the way, let's get into the episode right now. What beach are we on right now? I'm like, this can't be real. I'm like, I know no beaches in New York look like that. What you gonna do, Fisk? You gonna go in there and operate yourself with your big fists?
What is happening here?
Yeah, go in there. Keep interfering with the doctors. Please do. Keep interfering so that she can die. Is where you're gonna come and say that you had everything under control?
We don't, sir. Not yet.
Yeah, Fisk would want to beat the ever-living out of them.
Officer Paolo. Alive.
He said, don't you dare deprive me of the pleasure of beating the hell out of them myself. Oh, Matt would go in alive. Poindexter would probably take himself out.
Leave me here. None of this matters now. It matters to me.
Too many people want you, Poindexter. What's it like being so popular?
What kind of sick fucking question is that?
I mean, sadly, in this case, a valid one, but don't you think they would make an announcement if that's the case? It is crazy to me what media feels comfortable asking. Like, there's just no sense of decency or decorum anymore.
Actually, technically, legally, I can.
BB, think. Nobody can know where she is. It's the mayor's not in a good place.
Yeah, he's like, he will pound you to death.
Crazy right now, and I just want to make sure I get the story right.
We're really fucking doing this right now, huh?
Maybe it's coming.
I shouldn't have come. Just forget that I came, okay?
Hug was a smart move. He don't trust you, girl. He knows. Ooh, BB. If you publish that, though, I mean, they know that BB writes for them, but I just mean, like, I hope she knows that even though her whole point is to squeeze info, you have to do it in the right time. Otherwise, it's a very tenuous balance she's walking right now.
With that said, I will do everything in my power for her.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, Vanessa's like, I'm on a vacation. I got sand betwixt my toes. I don't think she wants to come back, to be perfectly honest.
I think it's pretty obvious why I chose not to include it, but if you feel differently, by all means. Why should I put it up?
It's a flashback.
That if the right person walks through that door.
So flashback to the night her and Wilson met.
I've earned this many times over. It's okay.
As I said, Poindexter will take himself out. It's between that and going back to Fisk.
Your friend Fisk's wife. Scales settled.
What about you, though?
You're not listening.
He's not.
That night you threw me off the roof, I was supposed to die. 4-story, no one survives that.
Maybe that's the grand design. You don't get to say his name. Do you understand?
Why? Because you can't?
Tell me you understand.
No.
Don't say his name.
See, now, if he was smart, he'd be like, Foggy, 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 Foggy. I'm just saying, if he really wants to go out.
Oxy, Moxie, Roxy.
Wow, there's that many things that end in oxy? I don't know, guys. When you're not in the world of drugs, it's a revelation every day.
Under no circumstances does this go to trial.
Heard.
You know, every time I look at Eldon, I can't not think of seeing him in Mighty Ducks all those years ago.
We grew up in the same building.
Small world.
We used to hang out.
Did you?
Me and his brother.
I was about to say, y'all don't look like you'd be on the same plane at all.
5 to 6.
3 to 4, if you...
If I what? If I find God?
If you just don't screw up in prison, although good luck with that. Can't imagine what it's like in there.
It's cop a deal. They told you, right? No trial. You want to know why?
Tell us.
Because they got about 10 guys on the inside just waiting to take me out. All right? That's how this ends.
That's the system you're fighting for, Maddie.
I'm not saying shit.
It's his right to at least try.
You two don't even know who you work for, do you?
All roads lead to this bald bitch.
This is Wesley.
Oh, remember Wesley? Screw that guy.
I have a friend who runs an art gallery. It could be an interesting market for us.
We're leading up to the Vanessa meetup. Oh, Fisk is like, I gotta watch. That's no pressure on the doctors at all. City's biggest gangster watching me work. One slip, one accident. He gonna bust through this thing like a Kool-Aid man and kill me.
You're not gonna mourn me.
Go on, get up. You need help. Let's go.
He doesn't want help.
First you try to kill me, and then you try to save me.
That's pretty much Matt's motto.
And I'm the one who needs help.
Matt does need therapy. And a therapist he doesn't sleep with.
Well, maybe tonight's penance is mutual.
They need all these papers collated and delivered to their office by Monday morning. Happy
Yep,
Friday,
so much for
Prospects.
your Friday. Yeah, so much for your weekend plans.
He's definitely into something weird. Totally. Like feet.
What's wrong with feet?
What isn't wrong with feet?
I can imagine Mr. Levine doing some weird shit with feet. That's all.
I see it as well. I feel like he's a sniffer too.
Just for the record, I don't have a problem with feet.
I'm sure you wouldn't, Matt. You are a complete freak. We already know this.
Oh, come on, Foggy. It's not like he deserves to walk.
I don't recall the word deserve coming up in law school.
That part.
You want to spring the guy who calls you Foggy the Fembot?
No.
It's not a matter of springing, but if the only option is letting him walk or sending him to prison to die, you got to figure which is the lesser evil as far as you're concerned.
He never had a chance.
His brother did, though, didn't he? What was his name? Connor.
Lionel took the brunt of it. I didn't like him.
And you want to let him out to continue to do horrendous things to a whole bunch
But does he deserve to die is the question.
But does the punishment fit the
of
crime?
crimes, past, present, or future.
So you think we should ignore it?
Ignore what?
It's our job.
Interesting that Matt's having this debate, considering how hard he doesn't want to kill people.
Aren't you supposed to be the Catholic one here?
Oh, come on.
Point it out, clock it.
With guilt now.
Because you always seem to bring it up when it's convenient, Matt. Just
How
saying.
about mercy?
Hmm.
There's got to be something about that in the Bible.
There is plenty about it, actually.
'Cause if he goes to jail, he dies.
That's what you have to face.
Fisk is in critical condition.
Fucking baby, no way.
Last night's violent attack on the
Mr.
mayor.
Blake, can I get an update on Mrs. Fisk?
No.
I don't know if it was her. I pray she wasn't that dumb.
Buck, where were you last night?
I had to run an errand.
He did run an errand.
You know, I could kill for a hot dog.
Yeah, that turn of phrase coming from you, Buck. I don't take it as a joke.
I'm optimistic in nature, and I remain hopeful. Hope.
Yeah, it's a science, but not exact.
She's gonna be fine.
Okay. You believe that. Hopefully it's true for you.
I'll deal with it later.
But as I said, she's having a good old time in her head, so maybe she gonna stay there for a while. I don't blame her. How is she in two places at once? Or is the flashback Fisk and she's here? Could be both, I guess. It's not like she's got anything to do but sleep.
I thought we might take a drive. Have a little chat.
A chat. Buck.
Is he taking you where they dump the bodies?
There are pivotal moments in a man's life, Daniel, which define what kind of man he is, what he's really made of.
Just get to the threats, fancy pants.
Staten Island to City Hall, head of communications. That's quite a trajectory.
He did all that on his knees, gargling Fisk's balls.
God knows who has leaked the hospital to the press.
But you're not saying you think it's me, are you?
Except
Buck,
it
I
is.
didn't have anything to do with that.
Except you did. Is he gonna pick up the tarps to wrap your body with?
Just sit tight, yeah?
Anyone you know or care about work at this place, Dan? I really hope it wasn't BB, because that would be a very dumb move if she did. Buck, what is wrong with you? Gotta appreciate the mind games, though, huh? Okay, Buck. Got yourself the Bucky Barnes special wig, huh?
I understand you have some sort of open assignment.
To think he became your replacement.
Well, you come to the right place then, haven't you?
And it all connects.
You know what happens if she dies?
Fisk turns the city upside down and shakes it and kills us.
Me. Kills me.
Us. I was there.
He's in love with you, though, Matt. And you didn't directly touch Vanessa. He definitely will kill Poindexter, but he'll beat him to death.
The fuck you doing here, Foggy?
Just wanted to come by, see how you were doing, offer you a beer.
I wanted to give you this. How's this?
Trying to get you to skip town?
What I want is for you to start over with it. You got a second chance here.
Does he?
And brother, we are who we are.
How does the part Matt is never accepted?
I never really had a friend like that.
It's too bad.
Acting something out, scratching some kind of itch. It's when you think you got it beat, you think, I outran him.
Tell him about himself, Poindexter.
There it is,
Right back in the rage.
staring you right in the face.
Hilarious. Didn't Frank say the same thing to you last season?
Tell my brother to stay right where he's at. Hey, he ain't got nothing back here for him. He's got you. Come on, Foggy, you gotta go, man. Get out of here.
Foggy, he called you by your name, huh? He's not a bad guy, just made a lot of bad choices. This poor junior priest again. He's like, can y'all please stop coming to my church? There's so many.
Oh, I've been in prayers all afternoon, officer. I don't believe I have.
Now you dragged him in there to bleed all over the bleachers. Or what are they called? Not bleachers, pews.
Oh, I'm sorry, but weapons are not permitted in the house of God.
The rules have changed.
Do you think these guys have any respect for God, of all things? Please.
I didn't think twice. That's who I am.
Provoking him now. You should have said that when you were in the catacombs.
Let me die.
Fisk will bring you back. Finish it.
When I came back to the office and found the empty book.
He took the whole piggy
In
bank.
the same tiny office with the same person, you tend to know what they're thinking.
Also, he probably heard you take it from his house blocks away.
And there I was thinking the Murdoch and Nelson Fund was supposed to be about the future.
It is.
It is. That guy's future. Can you do it, Matt? See, if it was Frank, he just would have put a kindly knife to his temple. Guess you don't want to die. Deep down, Poindexter, you're not ready. And certainly not for the likes of that bastard Fisk.
Fuck.
No, I'd rather not. Oh, out to the woods. Damn, he's doing the whole thing.
I could just disappear. You wouldn't hear anything from me. Not a peep, not a tweet, nothing.
But Fisk would know. You notice that Buck hasn't said anything That's the point, is not to say anything, because now you're talking and you don't need to talk. Interesting parallels that they're showing Buck with this guy versus the fact that they were juxtaposing it with Poindexter before.
I like you, Daniel.
He does, whatever that means.
What's in return is loyalty.
Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty.
I'll do anything.
Will you kill BB?
Said it before, I'll do whatever.
Because I think, oh, is that who's in the trunk? Is BB in the trunk?
Saw or shovel?
Who is that? Oh, maybe that's the first mate.
I think the next 50 rounds are on you. I don't know about 50.
As long as it's dollar shots, sure. Get that cardio in, Maddie. You wanted to save him. Karen's like, really, Matt? You just been bringing any type of serial killer into the house.
It'll help.
Yes, this is my new friend, kind of. Frenemy. I know we hate him, but we can't hate him if he's dead. So, help.
Vanessa, you're here.
What if she's like, who are you?
I wasn't sure that I would see you again.
I'm unmoved.
I'd like a pineapple juice with ice.
Fresh squeezed.
Sir, I need...
No! Pineapple juice in a glass with ice.
This is not a freaking Wendy's, sir. Like...
You practically made her cry.
No, I just,
You did.
I'm just overwhelmed, my love, that's all.
You know, it's her job to make sure everything's okay when she wakes up, right? He felt helpless.
I'm just glad you're with me here.
And he hasn't felt helpless probably since he was a child. So that would be double traumatizing.
I just missed you so much.
Bro, it was like 48 hours. Breathe it out.
That was divine.
Good.
Look at that. All you need is some ice to the temple and you suddenly get over your pineapple allergies.
Will you tell me a story?
I think all of his stories are full of horror, but sure.
Tell me the story of how we met.
No.
We've been watching it all episode long.
Not luck at all. It was the grand design.
That's what Matthew said.
Will you tell me a story, please?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Vanessa.
Complications.
Vanessa? Vanessa?
I was thinking she was having memory loss. It was the pineapple juice. It was the pineapple juice in the end. Oh no, not her actually having the bandages in the dream world. Damn. It's your fault, Fist. The nurse tried to check her when she woke up and you was all like, get her some pineapple juice because I'm the King Kong dick of everybody. Oh, I hope whoever that doctor was who operated has left the country. Oh, don't give up, Vanessa. I know it's not the prettiest face to wake up to. No shade to you, Vincent D'Onofrio. I mean the character, not you. And I just mean for the sake of New York, honestly. You can't die. Not yet. Oh, soft waves. Well, wherever she went, it's more peaceful than the hospital. We ending like that? Not the soundscape in the background. Damn. Okay, guys. Well, that was episode 5. And if that was, in fact, Vanessa's swan song, shit got very real. It's about to get gnarly up in here. But yeah, this episode, The Grand Design, as it was called. We heard Matt say it. We heard Vanessa say it. There was a lot of back and forth between the history of Nelson and Murdoch, as well as how Vanessa and Fisk met. And of course, for folks who've only watched this version of Daredevil and did not watch the Netflix version, then this is news. But I did watch the Netflix version, so all this stuff isn't new to me, although obviously they reshot a few things. But all that to say that, you know, I think the whole idea around this episode was, you know, there's a lot of questions around morality, which the show always toys with because of Matt and his constant debate of who he wants to be and what it is to be a good man and all those good things. But coming back, we see that Matt did rescue Poindexter and he's trying to get him out of there. And as I predicted, I'm like, if I know Poindexter very well, he's ready to die, right? He did not expect to leave that arena alive. I know he knew. He's not dumb enough to think that Vanessa was going to be at that fight by herself with no cover, no task force, maybe even a sharpshooter or two, right? He knew that going in there, he had one desire, one mission, and that was to take out Vanessa and then be gone himself, right? And that's why when Matt rescued him, he was kind of like, bro, like, why are you carrying me? Like, let me bleed out. Let me just die. The scales will be balanced for all the stuff that I did. And again, I don't think it's necessarily a matter of him feeling bad about the past stuff that he's done, because we didn't get a lot of background on Poindexter, but we know that he's a little bit similar to, I guess we could say in this case, I could say that he's a little bit like Buck in that, you know, he was kind of paid to kill at one point. There was like, he did things according to orders, and then things went off the rails when his mind went off the rails, right? But he does feel bad about Foggy because, as he said, he was manipulated by Vanessa, which is true. Like he said, they put him in jail. They got him off his meds. He was not in a good place. Vanessa dangled this thing in front of him. And as he said, it was a desperation that he felt in that moment to bring his mind back to a place where he did not feel like the world was coming apart at the seams. And he did that job as kind of like, I have to do this in order to get my mind back. But as soon as he got his mind back, he recognized that this was not the kind of thing that he wanted to do. This is not the kind of person that he normally was. And so obviously he felt bad about it. And then even hearing him talk about the fact that he's like, yo, Matt, like, you pushed me off a 4-story building. You were going to let me die. So why now all of a sudden are you trying to, like, why are you trying to save me when I should have died all that time ago, right? And then I came back to what Matt was saying about, well, maybe you didn't die for a reason, right? You're not thinking of it the right way. You're saying you should have died. You lived. Maybe that's why I have to save you now, because again, you got shot right through your abdomen. You're bleeding a lot, but you're still here, right? So it's interesting to hear. So through that, you know, this whole thing where I love how Poindexter was like, you know, out of the two of us who's supposed to be crazy, maybe you are, Matt, because why are you trying to save me when you tried to kill me? And we see in the flashback that Matt and Foggy took on this case with someone that Foggy knew from his childhood. And this guy clearly is not necessarily the warmest guy, not the most welcoming. And Matt's immediately turned off. You can see he's just kind of like, and that's one thing about Matt that I kind of liked in this episode that they kind of highlighted a bit. And it was definitely showcased in the Netflix series, which is that Matt's a bit of a snob. They don't talk about it a lot, but he is a bit of a snob. He does tend to really prejudge people a lot, but that's only natural because when you're seriously judgmental of yourself, you can't help but be judgmental of other people. It's always that cycle, right? And we already know that Matt sits in constant judgment of himself. But digressing, we see that Matt's kind of like, whatever, this guy, you know, he's just a criminal, you know, look at his rap sheet. He should sign the deal. He should go to jail. That's the way the law works, right? The perfect system. That's what should happen. And Foggy, we see, even though he's being insulted and this guy's kind of throwing barbs at him, Foggy's not taking the bait. He's just like, how are you? How have things been? How's your brother? Right? And when Matt's kind of like, later on when, you know, this guy tells him, hey, if you send me to prison, I'm going to be dead. Like, I'm telling you, the crew I ran with, they have people on the inside. If I go in there, it's a death sentence. So I got to try my hand at court because at least I have the chance of getting out on bail, right? And maybe getting a chance to turn this around. And then we see that the whole debate happens between Foggy and Matt. And effectively, Matt's like, hey, he did the crimes, right? He did all these things. He should go to jail. And Foggy tries to put some context around it, right? And we saw a little bit of this last season. Remember when Matt was dealing with the guy who stole the cereal? And he was saying that the reason he did it was because, you know, his food stamps hadn't come in and he couldn't pay for his food. And you know, he just was tired of the food stamps even dictating what kind of food he could eat. And so he just kind of had this moment of, yes, he did something wrong, but can you look at the whole situation of what drove me here and do I deserve to go to prison for it, right? And this is kind of what came back again with this case, right? Foggy being like, look, yes, this man's done a lot of things, but we know now unequivocally that if he goes to jail, we're sending him to die. That is like, just to go to jail would be one thing. If we knew he was just going to go there and serve time, but he's going to die. We know this. Are we okay with that versus potentially letting him back out? Yes, he might go back into crime again. We can't control that, but at least we're giving him a chance to live and giving him a shot at doing something different. We're giving him a chance to redeem himself. And is that not what the penal system is supposed to be about, right? And then, of course, he explains to Matt, like, he had a hard life. Like, the dad was abusive. The mom was an alcoholic, died early. he had to be the person who basically had to become most likely the protector and caretaker of his little brother, who thanks to that walked a better path and was able to get out of that area and out of that life. Matt trying to make that comparison saying, oh, but look at his little brother, like he didn't do what he did. He was raised in the same environment. And Foggy had to be like, well, it wasn't the same situation though, right? He said like the older brother had to bear the brunt of it. He's the one who took the majority of that so his brother could have a less terrible time of it. Now, Matt did have a point. Choices are choices, right? In the end, this guy did choose to commit the crimes and run with the people he ran with. But Foggy's whole point is that the core of a person and who they are is not just the bad things that they do, right? At the end, that's why they say you really can't judge who a person is till they get to the end of their life. And then you can take a look at the different decisions that they made. And that's kind of where you kind of figure out whether or not, okay, were they quote unquote a good or a bad person. And even if someone makes a lot of bad choices, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are a bad person. And sometimes their environment and their circumstances and what happens to them and their trauma and their access to people who care about them, outlets, healthy outlets, etc., can affect the type of decisions that they make. And so looking at all that, maybe if they're given a shot, maybe if they've made the poor decisions and see where that could lead, they can make a different decision. And in the case of this man, Foggy was like, well, now he realizes, like, he's made all these choices and now he realizes that one door leads to death. Absolutely. The other door that I want to present to him is, here's your last shot to turn this around and don't do this again. Like, here's your shot to disappear, do better, and save your own life. I think we should give him that because that's what we're supposed to do, right? Like mercy, right? That was the other word he brought up. He's like, in the Bible, does it not talk about mercy? And for the record, it does. But anyway, coming back to Poindexter in that particular, conversation, because we kept flashing back between these stories and Poindexter. Poindexter's made a lot of poor decisions, as we've seen in this show. We don't know a lot about his history, as I said before, but he was trying to explain to Matt multiple times when Matt's ears are closed, of course, because of Foggy, but he kept trying to explain to Matt, like, please understand the circumstances that led me to what I did to Foggy, right? I think Poindexter's made it abundantly clear to Matt that he's not happy, he's not proud of it. He does feel some type of way about what happened to Foggy, but he can't change it at this point. So like he said, this is what I'm trying to do. In my mind, the atonement is I took out the hoe that ordered it and let me go because I'm the one who pulled the trigger. So what more do you want from me, right? Like he's saying, this is the mercy I'm asking for, is just to let me die. And so I think through the thinking and remembering that case with Foggy, Matt was finally able to understand that Poindexter's at a pivotal point in his life right now too, potentially, right? The same way that Foggy gave that guy the money and said, hey, I'm giving you this money. If you decide to go back and do something stupid with it, it is what it is, but I'm praying that you're going to take a different path. Do better, disappear, save your own life. That's as much as I can do. The rest is up to you, kind of thing. Is like, give you the money is all I can do. And as we saw, it turns out he did leave. Now, did he actually do that? We don't know, but my guess is since he's, they didn't do a follow-up of him ending up in the morgue, I'm going to go ahead and assume that he made a different choice. With Poindexter, we see they got all the way to the church and Poindexter gave that whole speech about looking inward at the kind of people that they are and why he was okay at that moment with dying, if that's what it came down to. And I love that his whole speech effectively was reminiscent to what Frank told him last season, and actually on the Netflix version in season 2 as well, about Matt and his true nature, right? And that's been a constant theme, right? Through all of Daredevil, the shows, both Netflix, this one. Matt struggles with who he really is. He struggles with the darkness inside of him. He always wants to be this ideal that he's formed in his head of what he thinks he's supposed to be. And he's always trying to crush and suppress the darkness and the anger and the other sharper edges of himself. And when he puts on the suit, that's when he allows that side of himself to come out and play. But like Poindexter said, we think we're going to be better. We put on all these masks, we do all these things, and we think we're going to, we're never going to go there again. But then it's always there. And the day comes where we come back. And not only does it come back, it comes back twice as hard, where Matt is now, right? Last season, he swore he was never going to put the suit back on. Now here he is, and he's in more trouble than ever, right? So I really love that he kind of, in that speech, and I think that's what really kind of convinced Matt in the last minute, when he was going to leave, to not leave Poindexter, is that I think in his mind, Matt really wants to put Poindexter into a box because of what happened to Foggy, and that's understandable. And that goes back to the flashback Matt who likes to put people in boxes. But to Foggy's point, after that speech, he realized that him and Poindexter are actually a lot more alike than he thought. They really are, as far as their mentality and what they go through and that kind of thing. They are the same. So the same way that Matt's been given multiple opportunities to try to do different and to be better, and the same way that that person from the flashback got another chance, in Matt's mind, he's like, I think we have to save Poindexter because he has a chance to do better. It looks like he's trying to change things. Like you heard him say, like, I'm trying to atone in my own way. Well, I messed up, but I'm trying. But also, we know Matt, he also does not want, death is not what he really wants, right? He wants justice. He wants the system to work. So he would want Poindexter to go to jail and actually serve time for what he did to Foggy and, not necessarily just, opt out of life. So anyways, as we see, that resulted in Matt saving him and bringing him back to the hideout. Of course, Karen's gonna have a lot of questions, but if there's anyone I think is gonna be more open-minded to it, even though I know she's gonna definitely have Vim for him because of Foggy, Frank Castle's kind of, I think, helped her understand the characters who do some pretty crazy stuff and know that there's more to them than just the skilled killer, shall we say. But yeah, that's kind of what happened on that side of things. And then of course with the Fisk stuff, not much to say there for me. I mean, Vanessa was in her own little place the whole episode. Like I said, she got paid to chill for half the episode. But yeah, she was clearly in another place. It looks like that glass shard. I'm like, if she survives, maybe. I'm like, as I said in the episode, I'm ambivalent because I don't mind Vanessa as a character, but I liked her better away from Fisk. That's just me. And as I said, their whole relationship thing, it doesn't really move me because it's just, I don't know, it's not a very healthy relationship to say the least. But as I said, I prefer the dynamic I like between them is more the little cat and mouse game that they have going on between the power struggles, right? That they really introduced last season that I enjoyed. But anyway, all that to say that I'm not sad if she actually is gone. If she's still here, I'm fine with that too. But yes, we see that she was out there on her mental sabbatical the whole episode. Then we've got Fisk, who's reminiscing about how he met her, how his life changed with her. And I will say that it was kind of nice to see that, when she woke up, him getting emotional and being like super sappy and puppy-like, which again, Vanessa's not used to seeing him in submissive mode, right? She knows she's got the ability to influence Fisk, but I don't think she's ever seen him so truly vulnerable. And I think that was just a very real thing because, for all the power that Fisk has amassed, and we know from a little bit of last season, but more so the Netflix series, which again, I'm going to keep referring to it because I love that Marvel allowed that correlation to continue. But anyway, we've learned that a lot of the reason, and also an Echo. I'm going to recommend Echo all the time because I feel like it was underrated. But anyway, we learn more of why Fisk has amassed all this power and wealth. It's not just because he's a greedy guy. It's because he grew up feeling extremely powerless because of the abuse he endured because of his father. And that powerlessness has trapped him in, deep within his psyche is this scared little boy who's so scared that the world's gonna be, spinning out of control like it was when he was a kid. And the people he cares about, i.e. his mom and himself, will end up getting hurt. Right? It was his dad when he was a kid. And then of course, as he grew up, there was different types of obstacles. But anyway, the Fisk of today is so hyper fixated on power and control because of that. And here in this situation with Vanessa, he was powerless, right? And the way they showed him trying to, getting in the way of the doctors and the nurses. And again, is he a doctor? Could he do anything? No. But that just shows that he was grasping at control, right? But this was something he couldn't control. He had no way of protecting or stopping whatever needed to happen as far as Vanessa's care. And that helplessness is what put him back into a childlike state, right? So anyway, we see that whole thing, that shakeup, that wake up call for Wilson, because really, there's not a lot in this world he cares about, but he does deeply love Vanessa, right? It's almost obsessive. And, I could go into a whole dissertation about that. But anyway, that was kind of his whole arc this episode. But, him having the near miss and then seeing how he freaked out when people were like, oh, we're optimistic. And he's like, no, she's got to be okay. It just shows his fragile state of mind when it comes to those people that he cares about and his emotional state. And I'm so glad that Matt's very aware of the fact that if she dies, Fisk will burn the city down to find those two, right? So that's the other reason I was like, I kind of need Vanessa to live, just because I don't want New York to have to suffer for it. Because, for as much as Fisk's like, I love New York's my home, he will not give a damn. If Vanessa actually is flatlined and she is gone, Fisk will burn the city down. He won't care. Like we already seen, when he gets into his red rage, there's no logic, there's no reasoning there. So As I said, for the sake of New York, I'm hoping that she does get resuscitated, but I have a feeling she might be in a coma or something. But we'll have to see. Either way, if she ends up in a coma, he's still going to be pretty out there. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what we've got there. We're going to have to wait till the next episode to find out what happens to Vanessa. And then, of course, we had the little bit on Daniel and BB. And I'm going to go ahead and believe that BB was not silly enough to leak that information immediately. I think she would know that Daniel would know if it got out immediately. But again, I hope Daniel figures out that, again, first of all, I'm praying it wasn't BB. If it was her, whatever happens to her, I cannot feel bad. I can't, because that's just reckless. But I hope that Daniel figures out that if BB was able to put 2 and 2 together, other reporters definitely could too, right? Like, she's smart, but she's not the only smart person, right? So anyway, we see that whole thing happens where, you know, they have like a little moment there where she comes in and of course she's looking for information, but I genuinely think BB was trying to collect it for Karen, not so much about putting it out there. And, you know, Daniel and her have a moment, and, you know, the hug that they have shows me that, like I said, Daniel really does care about her. And we know BB cares about Daniel too. Like, even though he's an idiot, she doesn't want him to die, right? She doesn't want it to be that extreme. And it's definitely a kind of a mutual thing, right? I think Daniel, actually, it's more so, I think, on Daniel's side. I think he actually likes BB. But anyway, you know, he was vulnerable with her in that moment. So that's why I'm saying I'm really hoping she wasn't the leak. But either way, we see that after that happens, we have Buck take him on a little drive and basically, you know, let him know that you screwed up a lot of times, Daniel. This leak hasn't been found. And this with this sensitive topic, it's not going to go away, and Fisk is not going to be okay with it, right? So we see that Daniel's very upset, very nervous, because again, the way his body language was with this leak, I know he thinks it's got to be BB because it's the only person he told, right? But anyway, we got through that, the backstory on Buck. I'm not going to lie, I'm not really that invested, but we now know how he got into Fisk's world, and I guess we know why he's now Fisk's right-hand man. But we see in the end that, as I said during the episode, Buck didn't really say anything outside of like the hot dog stuff and a few words about the screw-ups, but Daniel's panic had him babbling, right? Which is definitely a technique. You know, if someone's guilty of something, they'll tend to overshare when they're not supposed to. So anyway, the whole psychological game of taking Daniel to the hardware store, driving out someplace to go and dispose of a body, it looked like a man to me. So I'm going to go ahead and believe that was the crew member guy that the first mate. But having Daniel go through that exercise was definitely a warning. But also, now Daniel being a part of this is implicating him to a point now. Because before, the worst that Daniel knew of was like some of the things he'd witnessed, some of the things he knew, but he didn't really like have his hands directly dirty. Him helping to dispose of a body, he's in it now. He's in it to the point where now there's an investment, there's stakes on his part. So that loyalty that kept being brought up by Buck, this is kind of like cementing Daniel's loyalty. Like, now it's not even a matter of unwavering loyalty because you care. It's going to be unwavering loyalty because if you don't, I now have evidence that you helped me dispose of a body, right? So Daniel's now in it. It's deep for him now, and I do wonder how that's going to affect his relationship with BB. I am a little scared for her, but I'm hoping that it comes out that she wasn't the person who did it. All the same, though, I do think that the stakes are higher now for Daniel, so it's going to definitely affect their dynamic going forward. So, yeah, quite a bit in this episode, a little bit on the heavier side, not a lot of action, but we'll have to see what the fallout is if Vanessa is, in fact, gone in the next episode. So I do look forward to that. But I enjoyed this one. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I'll see you in the next one.